What's going on, guys? Thanks for joining us on this week's FMCentral weekly football show. It's myself and Ryan to start the show, with James joining us late due to work commitments. It is the 22nd of December, only a few days till Christmas now, so I hope you're all excited. Let us know in the comments below what you're getting off your better half or off your family for Christmas. Little random bit to add in there on the comments. But first off, Ryan, we're going to talk about Real Madrid this week.
Amazing run that they're on at the moment, and Ancelotti's on a great run of form. I think we discussed it before we went on there. 70-something% he's got.
79.5% of matches won as Real Madrid manager.
Incredible percentage. But when you've got a team like Real Madrid, you're expected to win that many games.
Now, what I'm going to do, Ryan, is I'm going to ask you a question which I didn't ask you or inform you about, because I want to know your quick on the spot answer. Where was the World Club Championship held?
Morocco.
Damn it! I genuinely hoped to get it wrong. I wonder. Let me know again in the comments below, lads. Who knew it was held in Morocco?
The final was in Marrakesh.
This tournament is, in my opinion, a bit of a joke. Now, yes, it's the best from all around the world. Fantastic. The tournament itself, the idea of the tournament, in my opinion, is actually good. Obviously, bringing the whole world together, the people who win the Champions League in each continent, Ryan. But the promotion of this tournament, shocking. I've seen nothing of it on Norwegian TV. I've seen very little on the internet. I think if Real Madrid weren't playing in it, I think we'd have seen even less promotion.
Well, from what I know, I tried to find the final on TV when it was on, and I couldn't find it at all. I had to watch it on a stream through Fox Sports, so I had the amazing American commentators trying to commentate on the English football game, which
shocking.
Is quite shocking.
Yeah, no disrespect to Americans, but if you listen to English commentary then American commentary, you understand the difference.
Yeah.
But I just think this tournament could be something special. It could be. I mean, when you saw Real Madrid have won the FIFA Club World Cup, everyone just kind of goes, meh.
Well, I think for this tournament, it was already a foregone conclusion that Real Madrid were going to win it. When you look at the teams that's in it, you got San Lorenzo, who they played in the final. They had, I think it was Auckland from New Zealand who played.
You had Auckland City. You had Maghreb Teula,
wherever they're from.
ES Setif and Cruz Azul, and then
San Lorenzo.
West Sydney Wanderers, is it?
Yeah.
I think they were in it. Yes, they were.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, these teams won their tournaments in their continent, so they deserve to be there. So fair play to them. But are Auckland City or are ES Setif ever going to test Real Madrid?
No.
Let's be honest. I think Real Madrid could have sent the C team, which is just the B team, which has just been relegated, and I think they could have come away with the title. So, but I just think it really does need to be improved. Maybe put on mainstream TV in Europe. You know, like the likes of Sky Sports or even ITV or BBC. Why don't they go in for it? Somebody has to go in for it. It has to be promoted.
I think they should. I'd have thought BT would have taken it on. They seem to be taking a lot, BT, but just wasn't on at all. So
some of the shit which is shown on TV as well. I mean, some of the, like you said, BT take on a load of crap as well at times, don't they? Some people on listening, Ryan Sanchez listening, Ryan. I know you're going to be coming on very shortly. He knew he was in Morocco. Yeah, sure. You just can all say that now, can't you? Jake said he didn't expect it to be shown over here due to it being Madrid. If it was Chelsea, I think they showed Chelsea when they won it. I think they did, but it was on, I'm sure it was on like random TV.
Not ITV4 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of this tournament is meant to be the winners of the Champions League from around the world. Yes, the Champions League is the biggest tournament in Europe, but their tournaments are the biggest in their continent, so surely this tournament should be bigger than all of them.
Get the teams that are in it as not as good as they are in their own nations. It gets them some more publicity around.
That's what
them watching.
I would love I would love it if we had people listening from different continents. Like maybe, obviously, you've got family and relatives in Australia. I'd love you to actually contact them, Ryan, and let us know for next week's show what the exposure was over there. Did they know anything about this tournament taking place, for example?
I think a few of them did because of the Australian teams that were in it and the New Zealand team that was in it. But not obviously Australians aren't known for football, and Bash is on at the moment, so
Oh,
they're
well,
all watching that.
there you go. The bash has taken over, lads. But yeah, ending the Real Madrid discussion just again on Carlo Ancelotti. 79.5% of matches at Real Madrid won, the highest average win percentage in Real Madrid's history. He's a fantastic manager. I think Chelsea were silly to let him go.
Well, I don't think he didn't seem to suit Chelsea's style of play, and he's gone to Madrid and done fantastically. Brought players in that amazing. But you question the balance, but the results are there.
Just say there, Matthew Lawson. Thanks for listening, pal. He's just said there. He thought it would have been regardless of who it was, considering Real Madrid as well, arguably the biggest club in the world. That's my point. Biggest club in the world. You'd think it would be shown. I just think sometimes the TV's more. I don't know. Maybe FIFA said we want this much money to show it. Maybe Sepp Blatter said, "Fuck the English, you aren't getting it." You never
Mm.
know. It could have been anything really. But we'll move on to a topic close to your heart, Ryan, which is the Rico Arena. I'll let you talk about this because then I'll give you my opinion on it.
Well, yeah, if anyone knows in the news, the Rico Arena, where Coventry City play their games, has now been bought by a rugby team, London Wasps, who came from, I can't remember where they've come from in London, taken over the ground. The big, massive Coventry badge has been moved to a tiny badge at the stadium where the Wasps has now taken over. Their game was played on Sunday. It was on BT Sport, if anybody watched it, and the pitch has been absolutely destroyed, which you can expect for a rugby game. So it's all controversial between Wasps and Coventry now. Apparently the board at Coventry, which we've discussed in the past, are not the best board, have plans to build a new stadium, but if anyone knows the history of the Coventry board, you know that this stadium is probably going to be built in the clouds.
Well, I
It,
think it's quite strange, mind, how a club from London has moved to Coventry. Freaking, I'm waiting. No, that all the rugby fans are calling this an absolute disgrace to Milton Keynes and Wimbledon all over again, is it? Or
well, yeah, I mean that's. I don't know if they're going to change their name to Coventry Wasps because that would cause friction between the actual Coventry rugby team who play at the Butts Park Arena. They're not the most amazing rugby team. I think they play in the second tier of rugby, but Coventry already have a rugby team. Now they've got another one that's coming who are a very good team, and they did win their game, but now they're sharing with the football team and the rugby team. It's going to affect the style of the pitch, and Coventry are probably going to end up with a pitch that looks like a conference style pitch in a stadium that's probably wasn't good enough to be a Premiership stadium.
I think Coventry are not financially safe. I think am I right to say
No,
so?
nowhere near.
I think the fact that Wasps own the stadium in that side of it isn't the worst thing. Um, but as you say, we all know rugby is a sport for people who can't play football. So they are going to rip the pitch up because they're jealous of the nice pitch.
Mm.
And I don't like the idea of rugby teams and football teams playing on the same pitch because one, they draw stupid lines all over the pitch. And then, like you said, they rip the pitch up.
Mm.
Financially, I can see the Coventry board are really happy with this. But obviously, as you say, the pitch is going to be ripped up. The passing style of any type of passing football is just gone out the window.
Yeah, well, I mean, you say the Coventry board would be happy with it. The Coventry board have no say because
Um,
they don't own the ground.
I see Matthew's just come in. Did you bring him in?
Yeah, he's the
Okay.
one who was coming on. He's a Coventry fan.
Okay.
Well,
Thanks for joining us, Matthew. Can you hear us all right?
we'll wait for him, but we'll continue discussing. And I went to the game on Saturday, as you know, and the attendance at the Rico for the football was just over 10,000, and then
Oh,
the rugby was on, and they got 27,000.
it's a decent income between them both. Then.
Well, I don't know if the attendance for the rugby. I don't know if they managed to get the the income that the football club get, or if it's shared. I don't know. It's a weird situation.
Yeah.
Matthew's just sent me a message saying, "Can we can't hear you, Matthew."
I would say, Ryan, I actually didn't know you went to the game on Saturday.
You didn't. I did tell you. It
I know.
proves that Paul doesn't listen to me.
I never listen. Let's be honest. I do find it quite strange. Oh, Matthew, are you there? Can you hear us? Okay.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfect now.
Brilliant.
I'll pass you over to Ryan. He can talk to you since there's two Coventry fans.
Okie dokie.
Kind of Coventry fans, but did you go to the game on Saturday, Matthew?
I didn't go to the game on Saturday. No,
You didn't?
unfortunately, I live the other side of the country, so it's a bit hard at the minute.
Ah, I see. But you've heard about the attendance.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have.
Go on.
It's terrible. I mean, you look at it now. Wasps own the Rico Arena. They managed to get 28,000, I believe. They've
27
reduced the
near enough.
tickets. I heard about you saying that the small, the big Coventry sign has been replaced by a small sign.
Yeah.
But the only thing is with that, we can't do anything because now Wasps own 100% of the arena. It's technically theirs.
Yeah,
So-
that is what I've said. My mum, who's a massive Coventry fan, who's always said should never ever should have got rid of Highfield Road, which is something I do agree with, but then I can disagree because the Rico Arena needed to be built for their future.
I mean, it's one of those things where Highfield Road we shouldn't have left because it was ours, but at the same time the stadium was too outdated for the football that they were trying to play.
It'd be like, Paul, you're a Newcastle fan. Newcastle fans are known to be passionate. How would you feel if some rugby club came out of nowhere, moved the badge? I assume Newcastle have a badge outside their stadium somewhere. Move the badge, put a tiny little badge in that you can hardly see, and just whack their badge in anywhere.
Well, I think it's not the badge, but obviously the famous St James's Park sign, which got took down and they stuck a Sports Direct sign up outside the stadium. All hell broke loose over that.
Yeah, I remember that.
So if they stuck another team's badge up outside of our stadium, I think it wouldn't last 2 minutes.
No, I mean, it's disrespectful. I don't know. Have you seen on Facebook, Matthew, that someone put a wasp scarf over the statue of Jimmy Hill?
I did. That is completely disrespectful to
Very,
everything
very
that Jimmy Hill-
disrespectful.
Brilliant.
I assume you know who Jimmy Hill is, Paul.
No, I have no idea.
No idea.
I'll let you lads keep talking Coventry. Can I just ask, the first game back at the Rico after you left Six Fields,
Yeah,
what was the attendance?
27,000 and something.
Yeah,
And I'd just say, where's them other 17,000 Coventry fans?
it was
wouldn't work.
exactly the same prices for this Saturday. It was a £5 or a tenner and £1 for
Well,
the fans.
I think that's disgraceful that only 10,000 turned up then. I think it's hard. I think, as you said, you should never have left the stadium, but the stadium wasn't up to standard
good
of
enough.
your stadium.
Yeah,
And there's a lot of the time it's actually more cost effective just to build a new stadium rather than redevelop. We've seen this in a few occasions. But at the end of the day, if they've built this stadium, which is 32, I think it is, 32,000. It's ridiculous, I think. Yes, they were they a Premiership side when they built the stadium?
they weren't. It was part of the ambition to be in the Premier League for the stadium, but we got relegated in 2001, and the stadium wasn't opened until 2005.
See, this
After being delayed. So it was just a case of, we ended up losing money from our previous chairman when the Rico was built, which meant that the stadium was delayed. I remember we had to play our first 3 or 4 games away because the stadium wasn't ready in time. I mean, there were seats missing and things like that.
I hate this. I hate it when they build a stadium with the ambition of going into the Premier League. A prime example, I think, is Milton Keynes Stadium.
Yeah.
They only built it halfway up at first, and they've now finished it. And apart from the United game, I don't think they've ever used that top tier.
No, they've never opened it.
So I don't see why they've ended up in the last year sticking all the seats in, and obviously spending more money to seat the top tier when they've not used it. I just think clubs need to think smart. They should have really built the record maybe 15,000 and saved an absolute fortune.
But I think the plan was, when they planned to build the stadium, if they were going to go into the Premiership, they were going to build a 45,000 seater stadium.
Yeah, but again, the word's if, isn't it? It's always if. Sorry, go on.
It was when the plans were actually brought out, it was in the Premier League. But then once the relegation happened, it was kind of like, shit, what do we do now? Do we lower it from 45,000 and, because it was meant to have like a retractable pitch, a retractable roof and everything like that.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, let's take out the sliding pitch. Let's take off the sliding roof. Let's just keep it at 32,000 with the ambition that we were going to get the crowds. But the thing was, as soon as we dropped down a division, half the fans that wanted to see Man United and stuff couldn't, so they didn't bother to turn up.
I think obviously it's always going to happen. When clubs drop down a division, they're not going to get as many fans.
Yeah.
But I think there needs to be some sort of, there's obviously going to be, like advertising to come and watch the club, come and support the club.
Well,
but if Coventry got 30,000 every single week, or even just 25,000 every single week, they would soon actually start to become a bit more financially safe.
Yeah, they would.
So I think the fans who turned up for the first game back at the Rico
need to carry on.
They need to seriously look at themselves, because you can guarantee there's going to be a good 5,000 of them missing 17,000 who'll still sit at home bitching every single week about the club, and yet Definitely. They don't bother going every week.
No, they still. It's a protest against. I mean, we haven't got a whole hour to discuss the history of Coventry, but if anyone is interested, it's all over the internet. And join the League One banter groups on Facebook. You'll find it all on there. The owners are just terrible. It showed this week. The tickets were £10, £5, and £1, and 10,000 people turned up. It just shows that fans aren't interested.
I mean, this whole thing that happened with the Rico shouldn't have even happened anyway. I mean, the problem was that we were paying 1.17 million a year in rent, which was too high for a League One club. But then the company who owned us, Sisu, turned around and said, right, we're going to move to Northampton. The people who owned the Rico at the time, that Alan Higgs and the Arena Coventry, turned around and said, well, I'll tell you what, we'll let you play for the rest of the season rent free. Now, if someone offers you a rent free stadium, you turn around and say yes. But for some reason, the Coventry chairman went, I'm not too sure. No, we won't. We'll leave it and we'll go back to Northampton. So that pissed off half of the Coventry fans. So they didn't bother turning up. So I mean, the attendances at Sixfields were 1,200 on average.
See, that's just. I mean, what club's halfway up towards Northampton? What's that small town just off the main road? Can't remember the name of the town.
Rugby.
No, it's I can't remember the actual road link in Northampton to Coventry. There's a stadium halfway up the motorway, just off, which it'll hold more than 1,500. The conference side. They could have got
Nuneaton.
Nuneaton. I thought it was Nuneaton,
Yeah.
but for some reason I was thinking Nuneaton's near the other way. But yeah, if they're so pissed about going to Northampton, they should have maybe spoke to Nuneaton. It was closer, and
exactly.
With the average attendance, you could have gone to that ground.
Well, Coventry are linked with Nuneaton, so
yeah,
exactly. I have no idea why.
I had quite a funny experience. I mean, I went to see Coventry a few times when they played at Sixfields in Northampton, because I've got family from there, and that's where I'm originally from. So I nipped over one time to went to go and watch them, and there was a load of Coventry fans protesting on the hill, and
yeah, my mum.
They refused to go in, but the thing that I didn't understand is, if you've gone all that way to watch the team, why not just go in the stadium and watch?
I just think fans that protest and refuse to go to the games to an extent are kind of making it a slightly bit worse, because they're just bankrupting the team. But we're not bankrupting them, but kind of stopping them earning the money they need, especially Coventry at the minute.
Yeah, definitely.
it's affecting. They're losing their players. Look at the players they've lost recently. Callum Wilson is gone.
He's doing a fantastic job now. Bournemouth.
He is.
Fantastic job. He's destined for the Premiership. I think there's a few players they've lost in the past, and it's due to the club not having enough money. They could lose Ryan Haynes, who's looking a fantastic player for the future.
He's been class this season. I mean, Cyrus Christie again, another one that we lost.
Yeah,
he's doing well at Derby.
Yeah, he made his international debut for Ireland not long ago. But like going back to the whole Rico thing, we lost out because Wasps had the money that we didn't, and it boils down again to the owners.
See how much? I don't suppose you know how much rent they pay now. Then
at the minute, we're not paying any rent. Wasps have made an agreement with us that we get to keep the stadium for 2 years with the extension of another year, and they've said we're going to honour that. But after that, no one knows what's going to happen. I mean, CC were meant to be building a stadium, but it seems like they're going to end up shitting out pound coins because apparently they've got no money. So I don't know where they're going to get that from.
So I think even though Wasps have obviously come in, obviously people aren't happy that there's a rugby team playing there. People have disrespected ex-people from Coventry, putting scarves over them, etc. But the club themselves, Wasps, have kind of helped Coventry by saying you don't have to pay rent. But obviously, whilst you have the owners in charge, there's not much hope by the sounds of it. So obviously, if you had different owners, you could maybe spend that time building. I mean, you could technically find a field in Coventry, stick a pitch on, and then build a temporary stadium stand round to hold 5 to 10,000.
Because I mean, I'm not sure whether you've heard this rumour, Ryan, but apparently the actual owners of Wasps intend to actually buy Coventry.
Oh, wow.
Because they feel that the fans have been hard done by the whole stadium move and things like that. So they've turned around and said, well, we'll try our hardest to, put money together and buy the club and run them properly. So if that happens, I mean, it guarantees us a stadium. But the only thing is, we'll be sponsored by Land Rover and probably playing a green kit, like Wasps. But you
never know. But takeover bids have come in before and failed. Preston Haskell tried to take over. But
that was to do with the administrator, wasn't it? He decided to give the share to Sisu when really he should have given it to Preston Haskell because his intention was to buy the Rico.
I think one thing I would ask is obviously the situation with modern football. Again, the biggest discussion in this whole thing is money.
Which we're going to discuss later.
Yeah, how many fans from Coventry that you know, Matthew, have gone to this Phoenix club? I don't know what level they're in now, Ryan.
They're in the Midlands Alliance. They're called Coventry United.
Coventry United. I've gone to watch them play. I know a few players that are playing for them.
I know a ton of people that have turned around and gone, no, we're not interested in that anymore. We're gonna go to the Phoenix club, and fair play to them.
See, I had this argument. I think we'll leave it there, Matthew, because we're going to move on to the Premier League pricing issue now, because it actually leads on quite well. So thanks for listening, pal, and just stay tuned.
I will. Thanks for having me, guys. Have a good Christmas.
Cheers, pal. You too.
See you, boys.
What we'll do, Ryan, is we're just going to start talking about this Premier League issue, because that leads on quite well. Because I actually mentioned to the lad who posted on FMCentral about the issue. What I'll explain to our listeners. Basically, some people protested outside of Premier League headquarters, and they were protesting about the cost of tickets to the matches, as well as no doubt many other things to do with the Premier League. They had issues with obviously just everything being too expensive. The clubs were charging too much money. Now, a lot of people, including myself, said, why are you protesting outside the Premier League headquarters because your club is charging too much money? Go and protest outside your club. Also, these people turned up in hoodies, in masks, with fire flares.
Looking like absolute idiots. Basically,
they turned up looking like they were ready to mug everybody. I just think, as I said to the person, I said, in my opinion, the Premier League are doing a fantastic job. If you can get as much money as the Premier League is getting out of sponsorship, out of fans, out of everybody, from merchandise to sponsorship to fans, If they get as much money as they're getting, they're doing something right. Fair play to them.
Mm.
Clubs do not have to be in the Premier League. If Crystal Palace do not want to pay the money they've got to pay, if they don't want to charge the fans the money they've got to charge, Crystal Palace are within their rights to drop out and technically register in level 12, Ryan, if they wanted.
Mm.
It's never going to happen, but they could do it. So the fans need to, instead of bitching at the Premier League, either speak to the club, tell them they're not happy with the cost of the tickets, protest at the club, protest at the owners, or go and do what Coventry United have done and form a smaller club in the lower leagues, run by fans, with decisions made by fans, for the fans. I don't know what your opinion is, Ryan, but in my opinion, either like the Premier League, like how your club charges. I haven't got a problem with how much Newcastle charges for tickets.
How much do they charge?
Let's have a look. Jay's actually just commented there, and he's a Newcastle fan. He's just said Premier League tickets. Clubs decide the prices. The only positive thing Mike Ashley has done is he said away teams will charge you, your fans, £15 to come to St James's. Only if you charge our fans the same. Bottom half clubs will try and make lots of money off it. So there you go. Newcastle actually do look after fans. I know they were the only club to cut the ticket prices this season. At the end of the day, the prices are still expensive. I think it's between £20 and £40 a ticket. It's a lot of money, but at the end of the day, you're playing in the biggest league in the world. You have to pay the prices. Even League 2 gets exposure around Europe. League 2 football is shown in Norway. It's on Norwegian internet. It's on some Norwegian TV mentions the likes of Portsmouth. I just think people need to just get on with it. If you're not happy with the cost, either protest to your club, see what your club has to say. Don't turn up looking like a knob. They're not going to listen to you if you just look like a set of knobs, are they?
No.
You need to turn up and you need to do it properly. That guy actually posted a really respectable letter in the conversation, which they'd sent to the Premier League. The Premier League aren't even going to read that letter when you turn up looking like you're ready for a fight. But in my opinion, if you don't like how the Premier League's run and you don't like how your club's being run, then don't support your club. You're not forced to support them. Newcastle's in my heart, but if Newcastle totally fucked me over month after month, year after year, I'd walk away. You cannot put up with it all your life. It's just going to drive you mentally insane. You wouldn't put up with something if it's literally making you ill or so stressed that you want to go and stand outside of a building waving a flare around looking like you want to start a fight. If your life is getting that bad, you really need to go and watch some Sunday League football and just remember what this sport is about.
Oh.
Go on,
So
Ryan.
as you
I've
say,
had my rant.
you've had a nice little rant there. So going outside the Premier League, complaining about ticket prices is like going to KFC and complaining about McDonald's prices. Absolutely pointless. The Premier League can do nothing. The clubs control the prices. Yes, some of the prices are ridiculous. I think Arsenal is 90 quid all over, which is a mental price. But you've got to forget they're in London. Prices are always going to raise up there, but you don't have to pay the prices. Arsenal are always on TV. You can always find them somewhere on the internet that they're playing. If you don't want to go, watch them on TV.
If you don't have to go. I had this argument. Now everybody who speaks to me knows in Norway we earn more money than you do in England. It's a fact. Our hourly wage is a lot more. So a lot of people, like my boss, is an Arsenal fan. He travels over maybe once a month now. He's been twice this month. One of the other lads who just works as normal shop assistant. He travels to Manchester every month to watch United play. But if he never complains about the prices, but if he did complain, I'd just say to him, if you don't like it, don't go. I don't understand people complain about the cost of football. The cost of the tickets, for example, because you're not forced to go. I just think you need to. I don't know. I get so pissed off at the way some people go on about it. because it is genuinely true. If there's been so many clubs started by the fans, and I have so much respect for FC United and Manchester, and for the new Darlington club, which was formed after George Reynolds completely arse-raped Darlington. There's been a few clubs who've done this. They've fallen so far down. They're never going to make it to the Premier League, Ryan, because they're run by the fans. They don't have the financial backing which is needed. But at the end of the day, it just needs to be sorted. You need to just sort your fucking lives out and stop standing outside the Premier League like a set of wankers waving freaking fire flares at people. Honestly, after the footage he showed, I went on the internet and found some more footage of this. People really need to go and look at some of the pictures I've been shown, because some of it's so disgraceful. I just think they seriously need to open their eyes and sort their lives out, because it's just a joke. James has joined us. Welcome, James.
Evening.
We're just talking about the people who stood outside the Premier League, James, waving the flares and trying to start fights over the ticket prices.
Yeah, I haven't actually had a chance to read too much into that, so I didn't even know until you mentioned it the other day.
Well, we have just got to the end of it, so you survived having to give your opinion, but just bloody stupid, pal, honestly. It's like we said, it's like going to Sunderland and complaining about Newcastle's ticket prices. They're not going to care. It's not to do with them. Where are we going next, Ryan? Do you want to go on I'll tell you what, we're going to the derby.
Super 3, as James is here now.
Ah, yes, I forgot. Sorry, anyone who listens obviously knows we normally do the Super 3 to start the show, but James ignored us for the whole day, so we haven't been able to get this done. Obviously, busy day of work for the lads, so thanks for coming on as running home, no doubt. So, yeah. Go on, Ryan. I have no idea what the teams are for this week, so do you want to give us the games you want us to predict?
Yeah, we asked Christian Horsfall for 3 games, and the first game is Arsenal versus QPR.
Oh, Arsenal. Is that at Arsenal, is it?
It's at Arsenal.
I'm going to go with the 3-0 Arsenal win.
Nice. James?
Yeah, 3-0 as well. I'll go with that.
3-0. I'm going to go 3-0 as well.
Oh, come on. You just want to steal my points.
The next game is Man City West Brom.
Oh, Man City West Brom. At Man City, I assume.
At Man City.
I will go with I'm going to go with the 2-0.
Man City?
Yeah, 2-0 Man City.
Okay. James?
I'm going for 4-0 City.
4-0. I'm going to go 3-0 Man City.
Oh, nice.
And the final game, which we're all going to be happy about, is Man United Newcastle.
Man United Newcastle. Now, this is at Old Trafford. Obviously, we all know how poor Man United are, so I'm going to go with a 2-1 Newcastle victory. I think little Perez is going to steal the show.
James?
3-1 Man United.
Oh, James, come on. I know you've had a long day of work, but you must be tired, lad.
I'm going to go 2-1 Man United.
Oh, what do you...
I think Newcastle will get a goal. Jose Perez is on form.
Yeah, he's doing well at the minute.
But
I'm just...
That's all looking good. Have you got the post up so we can show everybody where they are from?
I can bring it up. Do you want to just start talking about...
I think James is still top.
Do you want to do the comments down the side? Oh, there we go. James has got 11 points. I've got 11 points. And Ryan has 7, so it's getting close, James.
Yeah, you've caught up since last week.
Ah, you see, getting good.
Aye.
I'll just look down the side here. Jake said they know they'll be battering for safety. He's talking about the ticket prices. I'll just jump through. Sorry, Jake, we missed your comments at the time of the chat. Jake, they're talking about the Premier League prices, which I read out. Ryan said Arsenal's a joke. They're the most expensive in the league, and they didn't drop the prices. Very expensive. Ryan's gave his predictions for the Super 3, which is good to see. He's gone 4-0 Arsenal, 3-0 Man City, and 1-1 Newcastle United. So, fantastic. What's the next topic, Ryan? Do you want to talk about?
Next topic, what have we got? We can go with the Newcastle Sunderland, we can go with the derby.
Fantastic.
I'm sure you're all happy to talk about it.
Do you know, before we go into this, James and Ryan, I just got to quickly say, off the derby, just quickly, someone's just reminded me of this. I'd like to apologise for the comment I made last week about Raheem Sterling. Someone took it that I said he's always been shit, and he's just a shit footballer. I was trying to say that he's had a poor run of form, and he's been playing shit. I understand and I know that Sterling's a very talented footballer. So I just throw that. See, so we can make comments which are nice. I noticed James made a post on the Football Manager WizKids about his emotion after the Newcastle game. So we'll go to you first, James. Just your thoughts on the game.
I thought it was an alright game considering it was 0-0 for so long. It wasn't your boring dull 0-0. I thought it was okay, but yeah, I thought when Sunderland had the chances, Newcastle had the chances, and usually after derbies I come out all guns blazing on the players and the manager, but this time I can't blame them. Apart from one player, I thought the rest of the team actually played well, and Sunderland managed to counter when we were going for the goal, and fair play to them, they've done us again. I wouldn't say they deserved it. I think a draw would have been the right result, but if we'd done to them, then I wouldn't complain, so fair play to them. I'm absolutely gutted.
Who's the one player you think didn't play well?
Sammy Amiobi, no doubt.
Yeah.
Well, it was not him, but my opinion on him is a lot of people don't realise he's got asthma, so if you wonder when he gets to about the 65th minute mark and he can't run anymore and he's just hobbling about, that's the reason. He's absolutely knackered. The substitution of Cabela should have been 20 minutes before it happened.
That's disgraceful, that, James. Honestly,
that was the only poor decision I wasn't happy with. The player that didn't play well for me, and I was actually talking about him yesterday, is Johan Gouthran. A lot of frustration from Newcastle fans about him. When he first came, the first 6 months, he was excellent. He took on players, he was direct, he chipped in with a few goals. Now, as soon as he gets the ball, he's just no confidence about him. And in the last year, he's been playing like a championship standard, and he's not good enough for the club. And it's a shame because I was a big fan. He's almost Gabriel Obertan now.
Lucky guy. He'll be my rant at the start next season then. I think Sammy Amiobi all game, his first touch was shocking. But he's one of them players who will either have a really good game or a really bad game, so I'm not going to lay into him too much.
Is he better than his brother?
For me, you bring him on the hour mark for me.
Yeah,
he's got good energy, but he's got not enough energy to start the game, I don't believe. He's a good sub for me.
I think he would be good as a sub, yeah, because he's got that little bit about him. He pisses all over his brother, Ryan, honestly. Totally different player. Sammy Amiobi's like leggy and he just kind of dives around people, where Shola Amiobi just stood there like a lump.
Used to score against Sunderland though, quite a lot.
Yeah, I think Cabela should have come on earlier. That's a couple of games in a row now. Cabela's come on for like the last 3 minutes, and I don't know what he thinks that's going to actually achieve.
No, I didn't get it, and that was the only frustrating thing Pardew did. He didn't do nothing wrong, and the players didn't do nothing wrong. They were going for the game, and they just got hit by the sucker punch at the end. That's why I'm not laying into the players or nothing, because they did well. But that substitution should have been made around the hour mark, just after, when Sammy could barely even move.
I think, I was so disappointed because as you say, I thought we played quite well. We didn't have a bad game. We didn't look poor. We didn't look good. We didn't look good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit here and say we seem to be good or something. But I just think Adam Johnson is such a cock. Honestly, what a knobhead that prick is. And to wave at the Newcastle fans like that as well at the end, and then he did it when the whistle went as well. There's just no need for it. He looked like he was going to score near the end as well. I knew it was coming. But I had my head in my hands for a good hour after the game. I didn't know what had happened. I just literally felt like I'd been raped. I'm just going to go Jake's on the side. He's just said both teams went for the eyes, but Sunderland did what we did against Chelsea, Spurs and City, which was soak up and press on the counter. People blame Pardew. Like we said, he didn't do anything wrong. Jake said everyone who he spoke to thought Goofan did quite well compared to Sammy. He didn't get much of the ball in my eyes. The problem is, Jake, Goofan, as James said, he just kind of doesn't look like he's interested in doing anything he used to do. He used to be on the back post all the time as well, didn't he, James? Where now he has no interest in that.
Yeah, he used to have the confidence about him to get in the box. He just isn't involved in games anymore, and he's just not. He's not good enough for me. I'd keep him in the squad, but he's just not for me. And it's a real shame because I was a big fan when he first arrived.
It's like Hudson Ben Arthur. He's gone the same. Fantastic player. Now look at him. He's going to be sent back from Hull in January, and are Newcastle going to get rid of him?
Yeah, Pardew said he won't play for the club again.
I almost want him to play just for some sort of creativity, because I just think, I just think they need to get Cabela, Perez and Sammy Amiobi at the minute as a three behind Cisse would actually be quite a decent lineup, because all three of them are quite creative players. Perez, I hate to say this, but he just looks a class above Newcastle at the minute. I can't see him being there, James, at the end of next summer.
Oh, he'll be there. He's going nowhere.
He's such a little tricky and skillful player. I just think someone's going to come in. And actually, Jake asked us to bring this topic up on the show tonight. What's really pissing him off is Arsenal seem to be interested in another one of our players, and again, they are unsettling or trying to unsettle another player, as they've been linked with Sissoko today with a £15 million bid in January.
I think, and I believe if that bid got accepted, Sissoko would be gone in seconds.
Well, he said he was an Arsenal fan when he was a kid, and he used to idolise Patrick Vieira. That's what he's come out and said. I don't know why he's come out and said that at this time, or whether it's been said before this transfer bid come out. But that's what I've read today, which is it's a bit of a kick in the teeth to read. It's not what I wanted to read today, I know that.
Tell you one player that did impress me when he came on was young. Is it Adam Armstrong?
Yeah, he's a good player. I think he's not ready for the Premier League. I think he needs to be loaned out to the Championship.
Yeah, he looks like he's got a good future.
He's only 17, and he does look like he's going to be a good player. He's just not ready. But I do like the idea of giving him game time.
For me, he stays in the team, he stays on the bench, and he gets off that bench almost every game.
Just give him 20 minutes every game.
Yeah, I think he's going to be absolutely brilliant, and he's a live wire. He does not give you a chance.
He had a couple of good moves. The one thing I was upset to see was he seemed to be playing in the number 10 role, James. So he wasn't on the last man, was he? Which is
I think that's where he's going to play it. He's not your number 9. He's your number 10 role. That's where he's going to play.
See, when I saw a couple of his chances, he looks like one of these players who he picks it up edge of the box, like kind of cuts towards the corner flag and then gets the shot across goal.
He's a young Michael Owen.
Yeah, so I'd like to see him on the last man and not dropping deep. I'd like to see him beating the offside trap. But I don't know.
He's only 17, man. He's got plenty of time.
Yeah, I do know quite a lot of the time when you do have a young player like this, they maybe bring him on out of position, like they did with Papa Cisse. He's not young, but they stuck him out wide to try to develop his football game. And then obviously fucking disaster that was bloody last season or the season before, when Denver Barnes, Cisse were there, and they were sticking one of them on the wing to develop their game. They were fucking shocking on the wing. But they do like to seem to put players in odd positions to try to develop the all-round game. I noticed Jake saying Perez was meant to be in our reserves this season. Now he's carrying the team. He's a great player, honestly. He's exciting to watch, isn't he, James?
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about energy levels yesterday because of how Sammy needed to come off after an hour, in my opinion. But Jose was he was all over the place the whole game. He's just brilliant, man. Even if I was a neutral, I would just enjoy watching him play. And people need to watch him play a full game and not just on match of the day. He is
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, definitely. I know Jake was at the game, so know that he got to see a bit of the movement we missed on the TV. One thing I would say I did read this week, which hopefully goes against my comment of him leaving in the summer to a bigger club, is Newcastle helped his brother get the position at Blythe, I think it is. And Newcastle United have actually helped his brother settle in the area as well as Iose, so hopefully the loyalty to the family has kind of convinced him to stick around as well.
Yeah, that's Samuel Perez. He moved there on non-contract terms.
Yeah, so fingers crossed. And we're just going to jump down a couple of more things because obviously we're very close to the January transfer window, Ryan. So things are going to start to happen. I've noticed and reported in England today that Lassana Diarra's linked with QPR. That could be a decent move.
He's another old player though, isn't he?
I think he's only in his late 20s.
Big wages.
Yeah.
It's not what they need though.
I was not as old as I think. He just seems to have been around for a very long time.
Yeah. And the problem is I think he's been club after club for 1 or 2 years, so it looks like he's been on longer. Also, the fact, James, that Rolando Aaron's contract talks with Newcastle have broken down, putting Man City on alert.
No, this has been made out to sound like something it isn't, as if he's been rejecting contracts here and there, rejecting a £6,000 a week contract.
I think it's just bloody all jokes, isn't it?
It's a load of nonsense. He's been on about £300-400 a week until he got in the first team, and there's no way on earth he's going to turn down that contract.
No.
And if you follow him on Twitter and Instagram, you actually get to see a bit of his life and what he's about, and he always praises his family, and he's always talking about God, and he just doesn't seem like that type of guy. I'm not buying into that.
Another one, Ryan, for January that they're talking about is Wesley Sneijder. Is he going to come to the Premier League or is he not? Surely this guy's too old and too slow on the ball to come to the Premier League now.
I wouldn't take him at United, but I've heard Southampton want him, which would put him with Ronald Koeman, someone that he knows, speak the language. Is he someone that Southampton need?
Ronald Koeman had an interview live on Sky Sports last week, and he says he'd like him, but he can't afford him. And he says, I know this because we share the same agent.
Well, there you go.
My opinion is I think he's a bit too old now for the Premier League. I think in the games I've seen him recently in the Champions League and stuff, he just looks a bit off the pace. But I might be wrong, obviously. Hopefully I'll eat my words. It will be interesting to see him come to the Premier League.
Another young player, I've just seen this article right now, Matt Staheli from Cardiff, who was destined for big things at Man United, has agreed a deal to go to Freiburg.
Stupid move, I think. Cardiff are seriously passing away a really good player. I've seen him play a couple of times on TV for Norway under 21s, and this guy is so talented.
I don't think they've sold him for much either.
No, I've heard between 1 and 2 million. I know definitely a good move for him. Obviously, German football, fantastic place to go. So he's moving in the right direction, I think, but wrong for Cardiff.
But just shows the business that Cardiff are doing lately.
James, what do you think of Yaya Sanogo linked with the loan move to Crystal Palace?
I think it'd be a good move. I think he's ready to play first team football. So yeah, it'd be a good move for them.
I'm definitely looking forward to January to getting ourselves in weekly, talking about what's been going on in the week, in the moves, etc. around Europe. Also, I've seen a lot recently in the last week about Ross McCormack. There's a few rumours coming out that he might be leaving Fulham. Surely that's not going to happen after the money they spent on him.
No, not a chance. He's scored a few goals lately.
It's coming up for the January window. We're hearing loads of silly rumours, and this is where the papers get excited again.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I saw the next one I saw in the paper today about Arsenal, United, and Chelsea. They may be looking at Sergio Busquets from Barcelona. I don't know
I
what
don't
you
think
think of that, Ryan.
one of the stories I just can't stand seeing is a world record bid for Gareth Bale to Man United.
It's not gonna happen.
It's not going to happen, not at all. Real Madrid don't want Eden Hazard. I think Gareth Bale is a lot better than Hazard. I don't know
Yeah,
what you two think of that, but I think he's a lot better.
Gareth Bale's one of my favourite players. I love watching him play, so I'm always going to praise him. Hazard, I love to watch, but I think I would pick Gareth Bale over any footballer in the world because I just love to watch him play when he's on the ball. So,
Mm.
don't know about yourself, James.
It's a tough one. They're both close, but I think I would probably pick Bale just.
I think Bale brings you more assists and goals. Hazard does a lot. Don't get me wrong, he does a lot for Chelsea, but I just think Chelsea maybe it's I don't know. Chelsea Hazard maybe goes past 3 or 4 passes it, then someone else gets the assist. So that's maybe why his record isn't as high as Bale's. One left field, James, which is Tony Watt. He's been linked with a surprise move to Charlton from Belgian football.
Yeah, from what I believe, he's actually been at the club the last few days, so it looks to be a lot further ahead than what we know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the reason he got sent there in the first place to Belgium was because of his attitude to sort it out. So if he's leaving so soon after signing a 5-year deal, what does that tell you again?
Yeah. One thing I would say is an interview we did on footballmanagercentral.com with Gary Martin from KR in Iceland. Fantastic guy, really nice. Did an interview with us a while ago. He's actually been on trial at Chesterfield, and there's a chance he might be going back there in January to train with them again ahead of the new season with KR in Iceland. So possibly he might be making a move back to English football. Obviously a former Middlesbrough striker. So there's a move to keep an eye out for. One deal, James, I want to discuss is Jermaine Defoe coming back to England. Can you see it happening?
Yeah, he will come back to England in January. I think it's a certainty.
I think he's gone to Toronto and he's realised he's too good for the league. Because he's still a class above, I think.
I just think he misses England.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Balotelli? Staying or leaving? Let's give our opinions on this before January starts.
Nobody will want him.
I know I wouldn't want him, I know that.
I think he'll stay, but I think Liverpool will look to get another striker in.
Yeah, I know. Well, did you see the record on that young kid they bought, didn't he? He's on loan at Lille.
Evoc Origi.
His goal scoring record's worse than Balotelli's this year. So, at this rate, they might... I know, James, what I saw was Balotelli was actually... Sorry, Jermaine Defoe was actually linked with... Jermaine Defoe was actually linked with Liverpool.
No, I think that would be the wrong move for him. It would just be another Ricky Lambert situation.
Yeah. I just think Liverpool are in serious issues. Ryan's just today, Hazard picked up what looked like it could be a potential serious injury tonight. Ryan, you saw the game.
Well, he was able to carry on to the end of the game, but I don't know if he's carried on just through passion, but he was diving around like he'd been shot for most of the game, so not too sure about that.
His serious injury might be like a grass burn on his knee. What's the next topic we're going with, pal?
We can go with some resignations that have happened lately. Sammy Hippier and Ali McCoist has finally decided to leave Rangers. So we'll go with Sammy Hippier first.
Well, Hippier, I think it's probably the right move. I like the guy. I thought he did a decent job at Leverkusen, but it just hasn't gone right for him at Brighton. It's never good to see a manager leave his position, but at the end of the day, it's kind of had to happen, hasn't it?
18 defeats, I think I read. I'm just getting the post up now. Yeah, 1 win in 18 games.
I think it was a bigger challenge than he expected.
I think Brighton are kicking themselves for letting Poyet go and for obviously the way they sacked him, etc. I just think they've definitely made a mistake, in my opinion, letting him go.
I think he's been one of their best managers in a very, very long time. In the Gus Poyet, then they went to, who did they go to? Oscar Garcia. They went to after that, and he didn't look up to it. Sammy Hippier hasn't looked up to it. Who can they bring in next? Who knows?
I think it's definitely going to be interesting to see who Brighton bring in, because obviously they've put in a lot of development into the club, spending a lot of money on the club, and they're in the relegation zone at the minute. So could be interesting to see how that turns out. The Rangers situation, I'm not going to lie, Ryan, I have no idea what's going on. Every time I freaking go on the internet, he's either there, he's left, he's on gardening leave, he's there doing 12 months notice, he won't step down. I have no idea.
It's a strange. I've never heard of handing in your resignation, but then you can stay there for another year.
Well, I think it was in the contract. If they ever sacked him, he had to stay for a year. They had to give him a year's notice.
That's what a rolling contract is.
Yeah. So, but I just think normally they just kind of sack them though, don't they? And they say, "Fuck the contract," or we're putting you on gardening leave. But I think by the sounds that they've said, "We don't want you. You've got to step down," and he's just turned around and said, "No, I'm not stepping down." So
if it's in his contract, he doesn't have to. But
yeah,
all this, he's on gardening leave, and all this anger at the Rangers board. Times don't look good for Rangers at the moment.
No, again. James, what's your opinion of the Championship at the minute? Fantastic league. Bournemouth have hit 50 goals already this season.
Yeah, it's a great league. It's very entertaining. I mean, top three, I think it is Bournemouth, Brentford, Ipswich, which is very surprising. I think Bournemouth, Brentford just got promoted, so they're going great. But Bournemouth topped the league at Christmas. Brilliant, and they've got a few decent players. They've got Matt Ritchie, who's I've known through Football Manager, of course, over the years. He's always been good on that. And I think their best signing was a free transfer of Dan Gosling.
Yeah, it's been a good signing for them.
We all knew he was a very talented player at Everton. He just bad luck with injuries at Newcastle, but they signed a top bossman there.
I must admit, when he left Newcastle, I didn't want him to leave, because at the end of the day, he'd had some bad injuries, but he was still a decent player. I think we needed some bit more depth. We've done quite well this year with injuries, and when we have had people out, the people who've stepped in have done well, so we can't complain at the end of the day. We've had a couple of players who've stepped up. Abide, I can't pronounce his name, I think it's Abide. He's done quite well, so yeah, it's been decent. But yeah, Gosling to Bournemouth's been a good run. Matt Ritchie, as always, is playing well for them. They got that guy from Coventry, Ryan.
Callum Wilson.
Yeah, he's doing well for them. Harry Arter, is it Harry Arter?
Yeah, another one who's done really well.
Yeah, he's doing well. He scored a good goal at the weekend. They look fantastic. I'd love to see them go up. I would like to know their stadium where they qualifies for Premier League. Because
I think it's over 20,000 their stadium.
No, it's only 10.
10? I think you have to be 12,000, so they'd have to increase and improve. I think they'd need to improve at the back if they went up to the Premiership. They've got the attacking players there.
I think it's a good, like James was saying, there's some teams are doing well at the minute. There's definitely some big boys sitting on the shoulders. I think Watford are going well at the minute. They're definitely going well. Derby, I think, have got the possibility. They've got a good manager in Steve McLaren. He does know what he's doing, no matter how much stick he's had over the years. So,
they've had a few good players, Derby, this year.
But let's all hope for over Christmas our teams have a good couple of games. I hope, obviously, Man United go tits up against Newcastle. Me and James haven't had the best few days, losing the derby, but as we said, Newcastle didn't do bad. Sunderland were just better on the day. It's not often, obviously, Newcastle Sunderland fans have a lot of banter between ourselves, but I think 90% of Newcastle fans have actually turned around this time and said fair play Sunderland. You got the victory. Well done. Just quickly, Ryan, you can finish the show off. Just quick mention on the United Villa.
I haven't seen much because I was at the Coventry game at the time, but it just looked painful, and we should be scoring more goals. The red card shouldn't have been a red card, and hopefully that is rescinded because it's 50-50 tackle.
Yeah.
Before we go, I just want to say it was brilliant to see Jonas Gutierrez back today after beating cancer, captaining the under-21s, and they won the game 4-1. So it was great to see him back on the pitch.
Yeah, he played 87 minutes. Good shout. Completely forgot about mentioning that, James.
Another thing is Clark Carlisle's been rushed to hospital after a serious road accident, so hopefully he gets better and improves his health. And then you've got plans for the future for this, Paul, that you may want to get out there before we finish?
Yeah, it's, just quickly, lads. I want you to let us know in the comments below. James is going to be hearing this live as well. He hasn't actually been on to discuss this. With basically the software I use to record my series on YouTube, which people can go and see, I can now edit our weekly shows, so I could edit in interviews with like the managers, for example, if we're talking about certain football, as well as any video clips, as well as an intro. Would you like to see it recorded, or do you want us to stay live? If the show does go to a recorded show, it would obviously, like I say, mean that we'd maybe discuss certain games a bit more detailed, as well as having the interviews from the managers from after the game live on the show as well. So just let us know in the comments below if you're happy with it staying live, or if you'd want to see more stuff on the screen, as in manager interviews, as well as intros to the show, etc. Yeah, just let us know, lads. But thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.